Yes, I mean, Chris, thanks so much for jumping on today. I guess for the time, if you're open to it, maybe we could have you do a bit of an intro. Then we could talk about your experience working with leverage operations. How does that sound? Is that pretty cool?
Yeah, perfect. So let me jump into it. I'm Chris with Raise Ready, and at Raise Ready, we are on the surface a marketing team, but we are very niche down to the private equity space. So we build end-to-end marketing systems for private equity firms and ultimately help them to raise capital. And that's what I would say. That is on a high level.
Right on, right on. Um, Appreciate you sharing that. So I guess since we've got to know each other, I think like it has to be like more than a year now. But I guess before we started automating like part of your fulfillment, what were you guys doing before just the automations?
Everything was a very manual process, right? From things to creating like team drives, folder structure. We leverage a lot of AI in our process as far as like image development, creative development, and even copy generation or headlines, body copy, creative copy. It was all very manual, and step by step. And I think that creates a lot of operational drag, right? Even though you would think like, hey, AI is speeding up everything, right? And it is, but there's still all these steps to take to make that happen, right? AI doesn't just magically work by itself and understand all of the things it has to go through to achieve the end result on its own. It has to be prompted in order to accomplish the task. And there's a whole sequence to that,
Gotcha. Yeah. I do remember like getting with you and Vitali. Initially, like, you guys had a process that was very effective for helping your clients raise capital. And you both wanted to, try and find a more streamlined way of how to do it. So I guess if we're able to like drill into kind of like how we got started and how we kind of phased out the automations for you. But how was your experience from initially saying, yes, you know what, we're ready to roll with this, to eventually having like the last training session where we taught your team of saying, hey, this is how you could use the system. And after we phased the implementation out.
Yeah. So, I mean, just kind of start from the very top, and hopefully this isn't too far back, but when Connor and I met, Connor was in the space as well and coming up with like very interesting solutions, out of the box solutions that were noteworthy, right? Like this is very interesting. And then I would say, because of Connor's proximity to us, these were kind of suggestions or things that we were talking about in a very casual manner. Like, man, it would be cool if we had X, Y, Z. And then Connor came to us with these solutions and saying like, hey, look, I believe I can create the solution that we were kind of mentioning the other day, right? And we said, hey, let's run it together. Let's try it. And that's what we started doing, right? So we started building things out piece by piece. Like, hey, what's it look like for copy generation? What's it look like for graphics? What's it look like for automating infrastructure building, right? And all of these pieces started to accumulate into the solution that we're kind of talking about today, right? So it all kind of happened organically, but I feel like Connor has such a streamlined thought process around how this gets implemented at this point, that he's able to address each of the pieces in such a methodical way. He completely understands what's happening here at Raise Ready. So his ability to kind of catch on to what a company's core operations are and their core goals are second to none. And with those goals in mind, is able to craft like the perfect solution. Perfect is a strong word, but really it is something that it's exactly what we needed. And by continuing to work with Connor, we're able to refine this process, right? Because any company, it's a living, breathing thing. It's like a life. It's like a real entity. And so, it necessarily has to grow. And by working alongside Connor, we've seen it grow. We've seen it go through these iterations and become better and better. So I can't speak highly enough about it. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Really appreciate the words, and it was a pleasure working with your team as well. Last question that I'm very curious about, if you're open to sharing, is if someone is on the fence and they're a little bit hesitant to moving forward, what would be kind of like your like a message to them?
I think my message to them would be, you need to value your time, and you need to understand that efficiency is at the core of business, right? And just imagine how much time you're saving by not committing yourself or even your teammates to these kind of mundane actions that aren't necessary, really, if you have Connor by your side. Let's take this piece by piece, right? The infrastructure that we're talking about building, Google Drives and folders and things like that. That doesn't have to be you anymore. Somebody clicking there and get the folder, name the folder, 5 to 10 of them. It doesn't have to be a thing anymore. Just run the bot and it gets created. Let's talk about copy generation. Hey, you're writing pieces for your people. You get to hit the button or fill out the form, and then bam, you get pieces generated for you. You still have to edit, right? We all know that AI is not perfect. It can sound robotic at times, but to start on that level and be able to refine from there, how much time is being saved? And then, for image generation, right? Okay, you want to develop creative or whatever, having to sit there and prompt mid-journey and then going in and asking it to iterate and da-da-da-da. What if you just started with ideas being generated and then refine from there? How much time are you saving? Right? And the recurring theme here is time being saved. Time is everything. And if you're really in a mode to scale, you understand that you have to leave these time-consuming processes behind as soon as possible. And that's what Connor helps you do. So if you're on the fence, you're wasting time. Don't do that. Don't do that anymore.
Appreciate that, Chris. So I guess for those looking to raise capital, where might they be able to find your company? Where should they get in contact with you?
Yeah, visit us at raisereadysystems.com. Find out what we're all about there. If you're looking to raise capital, we're the solution, second to none. Come visit us.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Connor.
Cheers.